Let's get some reaction from Professor Nirmala Gopal of UKZN's Department of Criminology and Forensic Studies, who joins us for more. Professor, very good evening to you. Thank you for your time. I mean, the tragic story of Olorato Mongale has brought to the spotlight the impact of families and communities hindering the carrying out of justice by aiding and abetting wanted suspects. I mean, here we listened to a man who's a friend of the suspect saying that out of fear, he couldn't bring himself to calling the police or even touch his phone. How should one begin to understand the rationale of family or friends or communities who don't report suspects who are wanted by police?
Good evening, Mpho, and good evening to your viewers. Of course, I think it's quite obvious that usually friends, community members, family members would hardly ever hand over suspects to the police. And we know there are various reasons for this. Some of them are social, others are cultural, others could be emotional or psychological. But we also have some practical reasons for why community members and or family members wouldn't hand criminals over to the police. And that is largely because they are supported financially by these criminals themselves.
In the Mongale investigation, we also learned that a mother allegedly tipped off the son while police were in her house questioning her husband, telling him to, the mother told the son over the phone to hide. As a result, she's now seen as helping him to evade justice. What role does that kind of scenario play? Because there are two sides of a story.
Yes, of course, definitely. And I think, every mother, like the victim's mother, the perpetrator's mother, equally has the strong love, affection, and loyalty towards her child as well. And I think within that context, you'll hardly ever find, again, parents, especially mothers who are supposed to be nurturers, who would hand over their children to the police for criminal activities that they have undertaken.
What is your perception? How do you view this entire scenario as we look at the developments of this case and some of the major crimes that have been committed here and how this is affecting society?
Yeah, I think this is really, the positive in all of this is the fact that police were able to apprehend him, trace him, apprehend him, and I think highlight the fact that he has been involved in a host of criminal activities. I think while on the one hand you will have communities still being very fearful of these kind of criminals, on the other hand it's showing us that there has been some good policing work, and the fact that they did almost apprehend him, I think restores some sense of confidence in the criminal justice system, and hopefully that will filter down to the communities as well.
We also heard the friend telling our reporter that he is going to be left traumatized from what he has witnessed, which goes to show that the crimes really affect a multitude of people. Absolutely.
And I absolutely believe the fact that the friend is traumatized because he witnessed this entire shooting. And I think it's very similar in terms of what we would find in communities, especially in our marginalized communities where crime is often normalized. And witnessing these kind of crimes on a daily basis, perhaps even, would absolutely traumatize entire communities.
And what kind of perceptions does this entire case now bring about when it comes to the nature of crimes that are occurring, the victims, and the speed at which police respond?
I think you have various schools of thought on that. On the one hand, you would find that we would have a group of people, or a large group of people, who would become more cautious, who would be more vigilant in terms of who they actually engage with. But on the other hand, I think we will continue to have those unsuspecting, naive individuals who will go into these kind of situations completely oblivious to the fact that this could be a dangerous situation. But I think what it does also highlight for us is the fact that we do have these kind of criminals who are either various reasons, for example, mental health conditions, because we did hear that he became suicidal, and usually that is related to some mental health condition. And these kind of individuals are walking amongst us, and unfortunately we are unaware of them.
And very lastly, before we let you go, police handling this case, what is important as this investigation is conducted and there are still suspects at large?
I think what is extremely important is to make sure that the kind of information that they leak out into the public or that they share with the public is really very is authorized information, because you don't want the suspects to be ahead of the police. But I must commend the police again for the kind of work that they have done in a short space of time to have apprehended one at least, even though it was fatal.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us and weighing in on this discussion there, wrapping that conversation with Professor Nirmala Gopal of UKZN's Department of Criminology and Forensic Studies.